Hi, my name's James from Imagine Fitness, and I wanted to create a complete beginner's guide to working out at home. Before I go into that, I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm 41, I've been a personal trainer for 10 years, and I own my own PT studio in Auckland. I specialise in working with people over the age of 40 to help them be fit, healthy and active. And most of my clients are, like I say, 40 plus, right the way through into the 70s. So I've got experience of working with a whole range of people. So working out at home, in the current climate, working out at home is becoming a necessity for many of us around the world. So I just wanted to put together a really sort of quick guide to how you can start working out if you've never done it before. You may previously have been going out for walks or going to the gym, doing Pilates class or something along those lines, but have no experience of exercising at home. So this is a guide on how you can do that correctly and safely. So before I start going through the exercises that you can do, I should say that it is important that if you have any medical conditions that might prevent you from exercising, that you do get some advice from a health and fitness professional or a health professional. If you've got any questions relating to that, please feel free to reply to this video and I will do my best to answer those. So some of the things that I'm going to go through with you is how to warm up, pushing exercises, exercises for your legs, exercises for your back, which is quite difficult to do when you're at home, exercises for the core, cardiovascular, which basically just means getting out of breath, a bit huffy puffy, and how to stretch as well. So we'll be moving around my house as we do these different exercises. Have a watch through everything, and if you've got any questions to this video, please let me know. So we're going to begin with the warm-up, but before we start, you'll notice that I'm in my bedroom. I've pushed the bed just to one side and I've created a nice flat area for me. I've removed any wires, anything that might be dangerous, anything that I might trip over. So I've got a nice clear space. I've got a drink of water close to hand, and I'm wearing some comfortable clothing. Doesn't need to be gym clothing, just something that you can move freely in. So the warm-up is just preparing your body for exercise. So we do this so that we don't get an injury when we are exercising. So we'll just start with some arm circles. You're going to move your arms slowly forwards in a circular pattern. Just going to show you very briefly each of these exercises. I'm going to move the arms backwards in the opposite direction. Just always be careful to move in a range of movement that is comfortable for you. So if this doesn't work, just do something slightly different. Next, we'll go with some hips. So just moving our hips around. Like I said, I'm just going to demonstrate these very briefly, but you probably want to do sort of 30 seconds or so of each movement. And if you find anything that isn't working for you, then you can just stop or do something slightly different. Change the range of movement so it feels comfortable for you. So some knee circles are next, and then back in the other direction. Okay, next is in for a move which I call a total body extension. So you're going to start with your hands nice and high. You're going to swing your arms down by your side, bending your knees, and swinging back up, coming up, and raising up onto your tiptoes if you can. I think of it like a ski jump. I'll just demonstrate from the side for you. So if you move through those movements, about 30 seconds worth of each, should give you about sort of 4 to 5 minutes worth of warm up, and your body should be ready for exercise. So the first exercise we're going to look at is a pushing movement. And this works the muscles in the front of your body, in your chest, your shoulders, and the back of your arms and your triceps. So we're going to look at a push-up, and we're going to look through several variations, starting off very, very easy, making them harder. As we do this, we'll move around the house to show you different ways of doing this. So we're going to start by doing push-ups against the wall. So popping your hands slightly wider than shoulder width apart onto the wall, making sure your bottom is tucked in, and you're going to raise up onto your tiptoes, and then you're just going to lower yourself towards the wall and push away. You can see I have my elbows below my shoulders, so we don't want to be in this position. You want your elbows below the shoulders, and when you're close to the wall, you want to have 90 degrees at your elbow. That's how you know that you're set up correctly for the push-up. So there's the first one against the wall. So for the next progression for a push-up, I've moved into the kitchen. And this is because the work surface in the kitchen is a great progression down from the wall. So exactly the same technique as before, hands wider than shoulder width apart onto the work surface, up onto your tiptoes, tucking your bottom in, and we're going to push up. So the chest is coming down to the work surface. So again, elbows are not too high, they're below the level of the shoulder. And for the next progression, we're going to go down to the dining room table. So here I am at the dining room table, complete with the kids' colouring. I've pushed it up into the corner so it's up against the wall so it doesn't move when I do this exercise. So we're going to use the dining table because this is lower than the kitchen work surface. And again, up onto your tiptoes, bottom tucked in, and using the table to do your push-ups with. Just make sure your table's nice and safe. This one's got 4 legs, so it's really sturdy. If you've got one that's got a centre stand, it might not be the best table to use. So just have a look around the house and see if you've got any desks that might be able to use instead of tables. So now we're going to progress the push-up down to the floor. There's 2 ways of doing this. We can start off with our knees on the floor. If you have sore knees, make sure you're doing it on a carpeted floor, or get a pillow or a cushion or something just to pop underneath the knees. So this is what the push-up should look like. Bottom tucked in. Okay, you can notice that I have a nice straight back here. I'm not up in this position. Okay, so that's not quite right. Dropping those hips in. And there is your push-up from your knees. Now the next progression from there is to a full push-up on your toes. So there we have a progressions for the push-up, all the way from the wall, right the way down to the floor. So next up, we have an exercise for the legs, which is called a squat. You see that I brought a chair down to the bedroom for this one. So to begin with, for a squat, is the basic. So next up, we're going to move to an exercise for the legs, which is called a squat. Okay, now you can see that I've brought a chair into the bedroom for this one. So this is the first level of how to do a squat. It's essentially something that you've been doing every day, all of your life. It's just sitting down and standing up. So you're going to stand up in front of your chair, feet shoulder width apart, and then you're just going to slowly sit down in the chair and stand back up again. You've just done one squat. So this is all about control. Okay, we don't want to just flop down into the chair. It needs to be nice and slow and controlled. So feet shoulder width apart, sitting down onto the chair, and then standing back up. Try not to use your hands to stand up. Certainly don't push on the sides of the chair, and try not to push using your knees. Next up, to make this harder, we can do a hover. So you're just going to squat down, not quite touching the chair, and back up. Okay. So there are a couple of squats to do using your chair. If you feel really comfortable with that, then you can remove the chair completely and just do your squats normally. But the chair is really good as a safety device, so you won't fall backwards, and so that you can't go down too deep into your squat, because we don't want to be doing that. One common problem with squats
is that we push our knees forwards over our toes. And you can see that there, my knees are going forwards. What we're looking for is to push your bum back. So you should still be able to see your toes when you're doing the squat. So there's your leg exercise, your squat. Suggest doing between 8 and 12 of these. Keep the pace nice and slow and controlled. And we'll move on to exercises for your back. Unfortunately, working our back out at home is quite a difficult thing to do. Most of the exercises that I can think of that you can use to work your back are quite advanced, so perhaps not suitable for a complete beginner's workout guide. So the best that we can hope for is just to be able to move the muscles through in our back and get them engaging. So we're going to start off with an exercise where you bring in your hands up either side of your face, and you're going to open up your chest and squeeze the muscles in the middle of your back together. So they're in between your shoulder blades. These are called your rhomboids. So we're going to squeeze and engage those muscles. You're going to repeat this one, holding and squeezing for a couple of seconds. Now, these muscles are really good for your posture. So if you do spend a lot of time sitting down with things in front of you, you're working from home at the moment, and this is really good for your posture. It's going to bring your shoulders back, engage those muscles in the middle of the back, and open up your chest. That's the main exercise at the moment for working your back. If I think of any others that I can add into this, I will tag them into comments on the video for you. So next we're going to look at training your core, or the muscles through the middle of your body. Now traditionally we've done things like crunches and sit-ups, but if you're not in great shape, this can cause some pain through in the lower back. And again, this is not something that we're looking to do. We're looking to get you moving and get you exercising, not to injure you and stop you or prevent you from exercising. So we're just going to look at one really simple exercise, which is called a plank. Again, there's a couple of levels of planking that we can do. So you're going to start with knees on the ground, very similar to that push-up position, and on your elbows. Tucking your hips in. We're not up here like this, tucking your hips in. Okay, so this is the most basic plank. Knees together. Then you can pop up onto your tiptoes for a high plank, which is harder. If your elbows hurt when you're in this position, you can try through in here. Down the knees is the easier version of that. So with the plank, I recommend holding it as long as you feel comfortable. You shouldn't feel any pain in your lower back. And that is one of the best exercises that you can do for core. It's also bringing some upper body strength in there as well, and some legs and some glutes. So there's many exercises you can do to get out of breath, and just running through the exercise I've already done already may be enough to do that for you. But if you're wanting something a little bit more challenging, you can use some stairs. So you notice I've got the stairs in behind me. So if I wanted to get my heart rate up, I could walk up and down the stairs. You can take them 1 or 2 at a time. Just make sure that you've got something to hold on to and that you're doing this very safely. When you turn around, take a couple of steps past the top of your stairs before you turn around and before you come back down. Certainly don't turn around on the top step, because that could be at a risk for you tumbling down the stairs, which defeats the object of what we're trying to do. There's plenty of other ways to get your heart rate raised, but for a complete beginner, using the stairs is absolutely perfect. In terms of how long you should do it for, that is completely up to you and your fitness levels. If you walk up them 2 or 3 times in a row and you're out of breath, take a rest, listen to your body, how it feels, and then go again. Try and build on it each time that you've done it. So if the first time you've managed to do 3 lots of stairs 3 times with the rest, next time try and do 3 lots of stairs 4 times, or 4 lots of stairs 3 times, and build on your fitness levels that way. Again, there's plenty more exercises that you can do to get your heart rates higher, and I will put some more ideas for you in the comments of this video. So we're going to finish off with some stretching and mobility work.
So it's really important when you have done a workout just to go through a stretch at the end. It helps to reduce any soreness that you may experience after the workout. These stretches can be good anytime. You don't have to do them just after a workout. In fact, this just could be your way of mobilizing the body and being active throughout the day. So we'll start at the top of the body and we'll work our way down. We're just going to start by interlinking our fingers, turning your palms away from you and pushing out. So this is going to start by giving you a good stretch through your hands and your forearms. We're going to lift up over the head and then lean across to one side. Should feel the stretch moving into your back through in here. Hold the stretch. The longer you hold it for, the better. I recommend at least 30 seconds, but again, for the purpose of the video, I'm going to be slightly less than that. Then we're going to stretch our triceps. So these are the muscles in the back of your arm. I'm going to place your hand in behind your head, behind your shoulder, in between your shoulder blades if you can, and you're going to pull your elbow across the back of your head. So you should feel the stretch through in here. Okay, next up we're going to stretch for the shoulders. So this area in here, you're going to put one hand across the front of your body, and with the other hand underneath, you're going to pull it through, and you should feel a nice stretch through in your shoulders. Going to stretch the chest next. So you're going to hold hands behind your back, pull your hands as far off the base of your back as you can, pull your shoulder blades back, and this should give you a really nice stretch through the side and the chest and through in the middle. So we'll move on to our lower half now, onto our legs. First stretch is for the quads or your thighs, front of your legs. Going to hold on to one ankle. Now there's a couple of ways we need to think about balance here. So if you're not sure, if your balance is good, hold on with one arm to something, and that'll have a balance. The other thing, which does make it a little bit silly, but you're in your own home so no one's going to see you, is hold your ear on the opposite side. And that does, for some reason, help you balance. So next we're going to look at the hamstrings. So these are the muscles at the back of your leg. Okay, so for this one it's really simple. Going to put one foot over the top of the other and then bending forwards from your hips, keeping your back nice and straight. You're going to stretch down towards the floor. You should feel the stretch right through the back of the leg. If you take a nice deep breath in here, let it out, the stretch should go a little bit further. As with all of the exercises and the stretches, just work through the range of movement that you feel comfortable with. Okay, so the next one is for your calf. You're going to put one foot forwards and you're going to drive your back heel onto the ground and just push your weight through your front knee to get a very good stretch through your heel. So moving down onto the ground, the next stretch is for your muscles in your bottom or your glutes. You're going to bring your knee in towards your body, reach in for your ankle, and just as comfortable as you can, pull your ankle in towards you and then your knee in towards your body as well. And you should feel a stretch through in the muscles in your bottom with that exercise. So there you have my complete beginner's guide to exercise. But how should you use it? As I said at the beginning of the video, if you're new to exercise, make sure it's safe for you to do so. If you've got any existing medical conditions that you think may prevent you from exercising, speak with your doctor or a health and fitness professional. I'm happy to give any advice that I'm qualified to give. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. My email address is james@imaginefitness.co.nz. james@imaginefitness.co.nz. The way I would use the guide if I was coaching somebody completely new to exercise would be to work through the exercises one at a time. So we'd start with the warm-up for 3 to 5 minutes, then move on to the pushing exercise, which was our push-ups. Do as many of those as feels comfortable. Normally I'll work with people in a range of sort of between 8 and 12, but it's down to the individual. Then we're going to move on to the leg exercises. onto those back movements, onto the core. At that point, I would pause and I would repeat that maybe 2, 3, or 4 times, depending on your fitness levels. If it's the very first time you've done some exercise at home and you haven't done anything for a while, running through those exercises once is probably enough. So you're just going to do one set through of between 8 and 12 reps of each exercise, or as many feels right and comfortable for you. When it comes to the cardio, as I said earlier in the video, again, you're just going to do it appropriate to your fitness levels. Should you feel sore the next day, then run through the stretches again. Make sure you move a little bit and go for a walk. And this should be a really helpful way to get you moving and begin moving through at home. If you've got any questions, please do drop me an email. Just shout out. My name's James. I'm at Imagine Fitness. Email address is james@imaginefitness.co.nz. I hope this complete beginner's guide to exercise helps you get moving and stay active while you're at home.